Hello and welcome to part 5 of Dev Maths and Stats Refresher Course, Lecture 6. Now we look at the idea of filtering data, and this is good for looking at subgroups. When you really want to do subgroup analysis, then specialist software is better. But the filtering functionality in Excel is really useful when you're first looking at data, just getting an idea of how it cuts into different groups and how you can compare different groups, such as all households that have or don't have have livestock or secondary education. So what you do is the basic idea is you click anywhere in the data, and then on the data tab you click on this button and that turns the filters on, and then you just get some simple filters at the top. So click anywhere in the data, go to data, click this button, and the filters magically appear at the top. Then you can answer things like this. Okay, here's the key. So 0 is the mixed one, 1 is female, 2 is male. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to select just the zeros, which is just the mixed groups. So let's have a look. Gender. So click on this one, and you see at the moment they're all selected, so you have to click that and then turn them all off. That means we're only going to have the zeros, which are the mixed gender groups. Okay, and I can see that back in the spreadsheet, that means it's only showing those values now. Any relationship between profit and sickness full? Nothing obvious there. How about the relationship between number of bags and... Okay. Is there a relationship between the number of bags you get, number of filters constructed, the same for all these groups? Okay, that implies that it isn't. Can't remember what's in the data for that, so... Oops. Okay, I mean, it's a clear filter. Oops. So we can look at this is the number of bags of concrete and number of filters constructed. Concrete filters constructed. Is that the same for all the different gender groups? So first we can check the mixed groups. So it seems here negative correlation. Okay. So in the mixed groups, it seems that almost the more bags of concrete, if anything, they constructed fewer filters, which is a bit of a weird finding. Okay. What about the all? What's the one stand for? All female groups. Okay, for all female groups. That's not really a relationship there, is there? If you're incredibly imaginative, you'd say it's inverted U, but I don't think there's any relationship there. And the all male groups. Yeah, just this kind of increasing variance thing. Yeah, because there are more all male groups, are there? Yeah. So possibly intriguing that the mixed group seems to have a strange pattern, but not really anything very convincing in that data. But you can see how you're comparing the groups. So you can do similar things. We can look at, by using these filters, we can select all the people that had the business training who didn't have the business training. It's particularly useful for categories for nominal variables. So different group comparisons, in other words. Now, related to this idea of filtering is the subtotal function, because the filter function makes it really easy to compare groups. So we're going to use this, which is looking ahead to the stats functions a bit. So clear all the filters, and in cell H100 put average, and then for these cells. So H. Move that out of the way. What filters we've got? It's just that one. You can tell that when you filter something, a small dot appears to tell you it's filtered, but they're all cleared now. So what's find the average number of households per group. I'm going to put it down here. If you're doing some calculations, keep these. If you're doing calculations that are based on a whole column, make sure you keep a good gap between that and the data. So if you type in average, that's a function built into Excel which gets it to work out the mean. And you just select in the range of cells you want to work the mean out for, like this. I'm going to give you a list of stats functions that you can use. Many on the course. So, okay, so we can tell that even though there's a lot of variation, the average group had just over 4 households. Okay, but was there a difference between the mean number of households in the mixed gender and the all males and all females? So if we just select here, this time only the mixed groups. Okay, okay. So it still seems to be the same average for the mixed groups. What about the all women groups? That must have a different number of households, average households. Okay, so that's the same to 6 decimal places in each group. Now, of course, this is nonsense, because really this is not calculating the correct average number of households just for the all female groups. Unfortunately, this formula average is very useful, but when you filter, it still uses the data which has been filtered out. So you can't do this comparison, it doesn't work. You don't get the subtotal mean, which is why there's a function called subtotal. So instead of that one, we use this thing here, subtotal 1, and then put in H2 to 96. So I'm going to replace this with subtotal, and I can never remember which one it is, but unfortunately you get this helpful pop-up which reminds you what each one does. So number 1 is the average because it's used so often. So you can either click that or just type 1 and then a comma, and then this is the cells as usual. So that gives you 5.878. If you clear the filter or select all, it goes back to that original value. So you can see that among the female-headed households, if we select those, number of households tends to be bigger in those groups. Whereas I think if you go for the ones where it's men, the men are the main contact, are much fewer. So perhaps there are more men doing that as individuals. Yeah, there's quite a big, or probably a significant, to use a loaded term, a significant difference between the size of groups on average between the gender groups there. Okay. Oh yes, then you can copy this along from A to S, and oh yes, let me show you another way of copying. Instead of just, perhaps I've already showed you this, but if you hover the black cross, hover over here so you see the black cross, then you can just copy like this, drag it and it will copy. Instead of using Control C and on here, that's S. Of course, some of the variables like technical training, business training don't really mean very much to get the average, but ignore that for now. So looking at clearing everything, is there any difference in anything else, like maybe the number of, well, let's look at the things that we're interested in, like profit. So this is, gosh, the average profit is negative on the whole. Gosh, okay, that's not very good. What is it for just the female-headed households groups? Oh, they've done all right, above the average. And for the men, oh no, that's wrong. For the men seems to be, oops, that's not men, that's men. So the men actually did even better. Okay, it's a paradox here, so it must be the mixed gender groups where they went pear-shaped, or is that the correct term? It went wrong. Oh yes, wow. Okay. Yeah, so it's the houses when the men and women were cooperating together, where things didn't go so well on the business front, it seems. Right. Okay. So, subtotal, really handy. as it says here, if you put different numbers in, you can get different things. That you can get, I think, the median, the maximum, the minimum, and various other statistical functions. And so subtotals useful when you want to be able to filter things into different groups, and for Excel to take notice of those groups. Okay, so that completes the section 1, just the basic putting data in and manipulating it. Next section we're going to just review some basic maths stuff again, so quite an easy level, so skip forward if it's all too easy for you, just to give you some more practice using both the maths and the Excel. Okay, but for now, thanks for watching.